Hello, today we're going to divert a little onto bars and charts and how to access the data that's stored in those bars and charts. This is a fairly typical chart that you would see for a stock symbol. They're called candlestick charts or Japanese candlestick charts. Candlestick because they look a little like a candle with a wick, sometimes a wick at either end. And these can be daily bars, they can be minute bars, but they're a store of the history of the stock's price movement over time. If we look at this particular bar, you can see you have a red bar here and a green bar here. A green bar suggests that the stock moved up, and you can read that from the bottom line here of the main section of the candle is the opening price. The top section is the closing price, so obviously the stock moved up. The wicks, this is the high price in that period of time, and this is the low price in that period of time. And in the case of a red bar, the opening price would be at the top, and the closing price is at the bottom, hence it's coloured red because the stock went down during the period involved. And again, it had a high point here and a low point here. This would be called a wicky bar. It's got a lot of wick for the actual candle. And when it comes to Python, we store this data in lists, and you can pull the data from the list into a list of your own. So we need to discuss how Python stores things in lists and how you refer to those lists. Now, with bar charts, these are static bars. That is, they've been created and they're in the past and they're not going to change. This rightmost bar is the live bar or the forming bar, and that means that it's currently active. The trading that's going on is affecting this bar, so we don't normally have that in our history as such. And so Python uses pointers when referring to lists. So the pointer is at 0 at the very front of the list that we're looking at, and we work backwards through the list to get the historic bars. So in order to get the bar 1 minute ago, we would move the pointer back to -1, and then we read forwards, we read to the right. So we move the pointer back to -1 and read forwards, and we get the bar 1 minute ago. If we moved it back to -2, we would get the bar 2 minutes ago. Now you can specify an endpoint as well. So if you set -2 to -1, you will just get the bar 2 minutes ago. If you set -2 to 0, you'll get 2 bars returned to you in a list. You can actually just specify -2:, and it will return -2 all the way to the end of the list. So again, if you wanted to do 10 minutes, you would move the pointer back to -10 and all the way back, read all the way to the right and get 10 pieces of data. So what we will do in the next video is we will go through some daily bars and pulling that data and pulling out a specific piece of data and maybe looking at a maximum and a minimum at some point. There's one extra piece of data that's normally included in these bars, and that's the volume, the number of shares traded in that particular period. So you'll often hear these referred to as HLOCV, or high, low, open, close volume bars. And so in the future videos, we'll go into more detail on these and how you pull that data out.